What's up, Star Trek fans, and welcome to Star Trek Late Night. I hope everybody's doing well after watching all the reviews, all the talk, and watching episode 3 of Star Trek Picard. I'm going to tell you that I was pulled in multiple directions as to my feeling about this episode. I found it very interesting. You know something that Star Trek Picard has done to me a couple of times, in season 3 that is? There are times where I'm upset at it, and I'm upset at it because it ended, and I'm upset at it because I didn't like something, but then I like it. It's weird. It's almost like even some things that I think I don't like, and I hate that I like it. So we're going to talk about it. Obviously, we're going to spoiler warning you right now. So if you haven't seen episode 3 of season 3, don't watch this. Now, I don't exactly have a whole bunch of Easter eggs and nerdy stuff to nerd out on. There are great other YouTubers that do that break down all the little things in the episode. I'm just giving you my thoughts on it. But let's take you to the beginning. I mean, we open up where we left off in the space, in the fight, the dog fight, the cat, what do I call them? Cat and mouse, kind of like hide and seek. And I liked it. You know, there was a moment we go to the Shrike, and Vatic is very quiet in this episode. Vatic doesn't say a lot. Vatic said a lot last episode, kind of, and gave the vibe. This one, it's all about actions. We didn't need to see or hear really from Vatic. We just needed to watch the episode. And then they cut to the damage that's being done, and this guy blames, Jack Riker, which, sometimes when I see the conflict, I get a little flinchy because I still adhere to mostly Gene Roddenberry's way and that sort of thing, that everybody sort of gets along in the future, especially in the Federation. They really, really work together. And this guy just being like, this is your fault, I don't really like that, but I understand. I understand it, kind of. I just don't think it serves much of a purpose. I know it does for Riker to say, hey, these people put their lives on the line. They don't connect with you yet. Some of them, but it's also done to help the closeness of Beverly and Jack's character. But I just don't love all the conflict I see going on all over the place. When I feel like I know Star Trek, and that's like this guy's like, this is all your fault. This is all your fault. It's like I don't know, man. But it's just a minor thing. But and make no mistake about it, I like this episode. And what was Jack gonna do here? Fight the guy? He's like, well, you want to fight? You want to have a fight? But I like the way it opened. They're in sick bay. Beverly, says to Jack, she's like, don't get involved in that. They might need us. Like, they're going to need us in a little bit. So far, I do like the way that the show opened. So I found that to be nice. Nice, interesting, good beginning here. We're on the bridge. Right away, we sort of get this conflict with Patrick Stewart, or rather with Picard and Riker. We heard from Terry Matalas that they were going to do this sort of Crimson Tide, disagreement submarine thing. So I felt I liked it, a little bit. It felt a little bit forced at times that Picard was so like, we're gonna fight, and Riker was so, we're gonna hide, we're gonna run, and at the beginning, Picard was like, they can't find us, we're hiding in the nebula, we lost them, and Picard is like, for now, but I do like that what I love about this is that they gave them both differences of opinion, because you didn't see that too much on the Enterprise when Picard was the captain. Riker would make a suggestion and say, with all due respect, sir, like, if we do this, they'll do that. What could happen, and we'll have to do that. And then Picard would give his order, whatever it was. I understand, number one, but we're going to do course correct and blah, 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 do this. And then Riker would be like, okay, sir. Understood, sir. And that was it. After that, that was it. That's what the captain said, and that was it. And I think Riker is a little bit annoyed I'll turn the music off. I don't know why it was still playing. He's a little bit annoyed with Picard, like, hey, I'm the captain, and after all the years that I listened to you, what I mean? I did everything you said. Essentially, Picard really is playing a helper, a first officer role, because Riker's been given command. And Riker's in action, and Picard's retired. Just like in All Good Things when Picard showed up on the bridge, a Beverly ship, and Riker at one point, same type of thing. And Riker kind of allows Picard in this episode to, offer more maybe than he should have been able to in his role. They escape for a little bit. They cut away then all of a sudden, and at first I rolled my eyes. Oh no, another flashback scene. And look, they covered up the garbage hole of L.A. or San Francisco or whatever the West Coast, with the futuristic city. Thought that was funny. And then this is the big thing people talked about, the de-aging of Picard and Riker here. Here's why I like it. I like it because Riker looks pretty good, And the other thing is, although this might have been, lower budget or medium, we'll say medium budget. I don't think they went low budget here. I think they went medium budget. De-aging. And maybe it was lower budget. I don't know. But whatever the case is, it doesn't have to be perfect because it's a TV show and it's Star Trek. And Star Trek has always been so, budgeted, that all I have to do is suspend a little disbelief and understand that they're trying to tell me that they're younger. Back in the day, they would have just made them tried to dress them up younger or something. I mean, can Patrick Stewart wear something different than a black shirt? Every goddamn scene and episode, he's wearing black. I mean, he's dressed like he's in the mirror universe in every episode. This is something I haven't commented on yet, but I don't know why, but I'm irritated that he wears black everywhere. He's already skinny. He doesn't need to look skinnier. They couldn't have given him a dark red coat or a red and white coat or a black and white shirt or something different than everything is a black coat with him. What the hell is going on? Has he become allergic to color? I want to see, Picard in the red, Riker's got it going on. And maybe that's because he's sort of that retired civilian admiral. I don't know. But I just find it, I don't know. I'm just annoyed by the dumbest things. Anyway, so I think this is great. I think the CGI or whatever they did here with the deep fake or the de-aging is great. They had one issue with Picard, and that's his eyebrows, as you can see right there. That's the issue. Riker looks really good and great. That's perfect for what they're doing. Nothing else needed to be done. But Patrick Stewart, is still speaking kind of like old Picard because he is, so old now. So, Riker, again, the de-aging on Riker looks good enough for me. I like it. But Picard, all they missed was the eyebrows. That's all they did. Whoever was in charge of this or whatever, all they had to do was paint Patrick Stewart's eyebrows temporary. Just paint across his eyebrows black. That's all they had to do right here. I don't know why his eyebrows are like this. All they had to do was just paint this darker black here, and then maybe take out some of the hair to make it thinner eyebrows. I don't know, and that would have been it. That would have been just great. And put him in a different fucking shirt. I mean, sorry if I couldn't help it. I swore this time. Demonetized. I don't have any monetization on this channel yet. He's wearing a black jacket again. So how do you make him look a little different than you did in all the other things? They should have put him in some other outfit here. But no, he's just in black again. You know what I mean? So there's my little thing. But I like the scene. I think Deanna, when she came on, was a little too it was almost stereotypical, which is funny because, a lot of the people watching this show in Star Trek now are a lot of the people that are women's job is in the kitchen and you don't do that, male SJW types. And the funniest thing about the scene is that's basically what happens. She pops up on the screen like the angry wife, your son did this, and I'm in bring, like, it was really kind of funny. But, and look at how I just froze Patrick Stewart. Looks like Malcolm from Enterprise. But,
Skin cigars, are we? Well, I haven't brushed my hair in 72 hours, and your son just vomited all over engineering. Projectile vomit.
I thought that was kind of funny. But, so at least they worked Deanna in a way in the beginning of this. So I like that. And this is a nice scene. I think it was a nice scene. I rolled my eyes at first, like, oh no, a flashback again. And then it ended up being good. And then we went to the bridge. Geordi's daughter goes to visit Seven for whatever. I'm a little worried that they're making Geordi's daughter like a little too like goody two shoes. Like, they're already setting her up for the one that's gonna. It's like everyone has a reason to act the way they're acting. It's like she's clearly gonna be the one that bridges the gap between people later. Like, we've already seen it in the trailer where she's like, you told me they were our family and stuff like that. And Geordi's like, oh, so it's like she's for whatever reason, she's running around trying to like build bridges with everybody. And it's like, why? It's very strange. But anyway, I thought the scene was nice. Kind of, she's trying to relate to Seven here. Seven's in the brig. It also establishes that Seven's in the brig. Beverly and Jack are helping injured. There's a lot of injured people on the ship, obviously, so they're helping. The doctor of the ship walks by Beverly like, what are you doing? You don't even know. Whatever. That happens later, actually. But this is the part where Picard and Riker show up. And it's like, oh, shit. Here we go. We're going to find out what's up. And they haven't seen her in so long. It's very hard for me to believe as a Star Trek The Next Generation fan that Beverly really just left them all for 20 years. Like, she didn't say anything to Riker. She didn't say anything to Geordi or any of them. They were all so close and friends and everything. And she didn't say anything to any of them about anything. That irritates me because she's like, I don't know, we're jumping ahead, but it just bothers me a little bit. Now, this scene is phenomenal, and it's well explained by Beverly and well explained by Picard. They both have valuable, valid reasons, and then the acting is so good. It's sad, it's compelling, it's interesting. I really like it in many ways, but there's just a part of me that just doesn't accept this in a way. I do accept it, but it is really hard to swallow. It kind of hurts me a little bit because I just don't believe that Beverly would, even if she was taking this kid, whatever, she'd never talk to anyone again. And then even wouldn't talk to anyone by the time the kid turned like 14 or something. I don't know. I just don't 100% buy it. I'm almost hoping there's something else to this we don't know about. Because this alone just makes it seem like she's kind of like a runaway deadbeat mother. I just don't really like this. So I'm mad at her like Picard is. And this isn't the Beverly I know. And and so I don't know. I'm kind of on Picard's side here. I get her point, but it's like, you got to be kidding me, right? So I don't know. It's just a little too much. And she mentions those things. And we don't even know about them really. It just, so that's, this is hard to deal with, but it's a great scene. And then Riker has a really good scene with Jack about his father and him. And he's like, I watched you cook for 20 years or something like that, And I thought that was a great line. I missed it the first time I saw this, but the second watch I caught it. And that was a good line. There's a lot of good stuff in this episode. But yeah, it's hard for me to see characters like this. And we didn't see what exactly happened with the relationship either. Maybe they were both so uncomfortable, because I would have played that up a little bit too. I would have played up that she felt ashamed because she really loved Jean-Luc, but at the same time felt guilty about her husband and their friendship, and it always bothered her, even though she loved him, and she knows it bothered him too, and that's why it took so long for things to happen, and that sort of thing. So, it's just a little bit much. And then she says to Picard, this is an interesting thing. She says, then it makes it double worse for him. Because at first he's just kind of mad at her, right? And he's like, I can't believe this, I have a son. But then when she tells him that, oh, I told him about you and that he could go visit you whenever, and he didn't want to. And that really screws up Picard then. That's when he goes off. He's like, all right. He almost gets a little pathetic and self-loathing and depressed. And he almost goes scorched earth. All right, let's just go, just do whatever. I want to go fight. I want to go do the space fight thing because I know how to do that. I don't know how to do this crap. I don't know how to deal with someone who left me and lied to me, and I didn't have a kid, and now the kid doesn't want to see me, and I just found out I had him. Get me the hell out of here. I don't want to deal with this. And that reminds me of what kind of Picard would do. I don't know if he would be so self-loathing, but he was definitely feeling sorry for himself and just out of, and I get it, because I would too. That was the first time that Picard has done something sort of selfishly mopey, where I'm like, yep, I probably would feel that way too, But in some of the other seasons, when Picard is mopey, it's like, ugh, he's not like this. But this time I bought it. I was like, all right, yep, I get that. Then a big accident happens. And by accident, I mean the Shrike finds them, and they're now the whole time they're wondering why the Shrike keeps finding them. So I like that kind of setup. How does she keep finding us? And immediately I thought, okay, somebody's telling them where they are. There's something going on where someone's telling them where they are right away. First time I heard the line of, how does she keep finding us? I was like, okay, well that's a cue that there's a way they keep finding us. They're literally telling the audience, you're stupid, they're finding us. A lot of the stuff is a little bit like this in this Picard season 3 movie, whatever you want to call it, where it's they kind of have to lead you there, hey, how do they keep finding us? Oh, that means someone's gonna find that's the tip off right away. Shaw gets waffled when the Shrike finds him. He's got blood pumping out of his head. This was nutty. He's got a bone sticking out of him. Dude, my wife was like, is that a friggin' bone coming out of him? This chick took a friggin' waffle to the chest. I mean, just awesome scene. And Paramount released this scene for free on YouTube, which I thought was kind of bizarre. But before the episode even came out, Shaw's just jacked up. And he mumbles some stuff like, ah, Riker, you're in charge now, Riker. Ah. And Riker's like, holy fuck, is that your goddamn bone sticking out of your body? What the hell is going on here? And Riker takes a look at him. He's like, holy shit. He's like, you got us into this. You're going to get us out of this. Ah. And then they pan down to a goddamn friggin' bone. And then Riker sees the bone. And Riker goes, holy shit, is that a bone? Holy shit. I can see your fucking bone. And this sequence is fire. And so Riker's like, holy shit. And then Riker takes another look, like he's like, okay, that's really a bone. Yep, that's a fucking bone. And then he gets captain of the Titan, and Riker takes a long ass hard look at that bone, man. He is like, if you watch it, it's like a hard 11 seconds of him being like, holy shit, that's a bone. I haven't seen a bone in a long time from a human. And then Picard gets up and he's like, holy shit, I see his bone too. And they're dragging Shaw to sickbay, and he's like, God. Oh man, it was great. That was a great scene. I got to tell you, that was a great scene. I had some problems with some of the stuff, and then Riker's like, holy shit, you're talking to me while your bone is sticking up. And then de-aged Riker is like, looks so much better. And then there's Picard with de-aged Picard looks good, except the eyebrows look wrong, but okay. And then I love as they take Shaw away, he says one last thing to Riker, like, yeah, you're in charge of this or whatever. You motherfucking. And then they pull him away, and as they pull him away, he lets out one weird grunt, like, ah! It's very funny. Watch this. He's like, take him to sick bay. Right? Riker's like, take him to sick bay. And then he goes, ah! Ah! it's like he cut off Riker. He cuts Riker off. He's like, Riker's like, all right, take him to sick bay. And then as soon as he says that, they start taking him. It's almost like he wasn't ready to walk with the medics. And he goes, ah! Watch this.
William
Listen.
Riker protest. Authorization Shaw. 12-11. Bravo Delta.
Command transfer authorized.
Get him to sick bay.
I don't know why I'm laughing at that, but it was funny to me. And then we get Worf, like, I don't know, doing monk-like Klingon practicing stuff. And he's listening to the same song that Picard is listening to in Star Trek First Contact when he's staring out the window. God, what is it? Oh, God. I can't remember the song, but, you know. Worf is listening to it. And I thought him and Raffi here were pretty good. Raffi is just so, like, out of time with Star Trek that it's still hard to deal with this. But it's like I like her a lot more in this. And I think it's because the idea of her being so fish out of water is kind of funny, watching her interact with the crew that we know in a world that we kind of know. You know what I mean? The world isn't fully the correct Star Trek world, but it's pretty good. But Raffi is still completely fucking out of her mind, not in this time, not from Star Trek. Like, it's just not right. But she's almost like, reminds me of like she's almost like if they had traveled back into the year 2030 and picked up a civilian from the United States and brought her into the future in Star Trek. Like, that's what her character feels like. Her character doesn't feel like she's from the Federation or from Earth in Star Trek time. She feels like she's from Los Angeles or something, 2030. She does not feel like a person at all that belongs in Star Trek. So despite that being a problem still, she's kind of funny to watch that interact with Worf. And I will say that, listen, the one thing I'll concede is maybe Raffaella, maybe she is like one of the worst type of people that exists in the perfect almost utopia Earth of this time period. If this is the type of person the utopia has to offer, I'm a little concerned. But maybe she's one of the worst people you could possibly encounter. And if she's one of the worst people you could possibly encounter, that's not too bad. You know what I mean? I guess. But I don't know, bro. Drugs and stuff, that don't make sense. So whatever. But Worf's scenes with her are good and interesting. And I did like the scenes. What a hell of a shot that is. I mean, I overexposed it a little bit, but great shot. Love the red. Raffaella. I love the introduction of Worf, too. Worf is like, I am son of Moog, slayer of Gal. You know, he just went through everything, and then he's like, and would you like some tea? Like, it was a great Worf thing. I thought it was just that they had just enough, like, funny Worf in this to make it be like, yep, that's Worf. Any less, it would have been a little off. Any more, maybe it would have been too much. They had just enough, like, I'm serious about what I'm saying, but I'm also Worf. It was cool. Then Captain Shaw, Picard and Riker debate about, the strategy here, and Riker making it clear, we got to run and hide and that sort of thing. We can't bother to fight her. So that's set up there. We get a little bit of Jack doctoring. We get Beverly doctoring. We get Beverly kind of yelled at by the resident doctor, but she's going to help anyway. Then we get Shaw. I love Beverly being Beverly and being a doctor. I love it. Put that Starfleet badge on her. Hell yeah. I love Captain Shaw starts like convulsing, and she's like, oh, he's got internal bleeding. The other doctor's like, none of the scans picked that up, Now, I don't know why that doctor would know a little better like Beverly, but Beverly knows like, oh, they don't always pick that up when it happens spontaneously after. So you might have missed it. So I like that at least Beverly is shining. I like that. I like that she got to be a doctor here, like very clearly. And I kind of like this scene with Shaw too, where he's like, how does she keep finding us? You know what I mean? And that obviously triggers Jack to like, wait, I'm going to figure out how she keeps finding us. You're right. And he looks down at the blood, and the blood drips, and that gives him the idea of, oh, blood in the water, When someone's shot, they're leaking fluid, you follow the trail. We must be leaking some fluid somewhere, or there must be something like that going on. And that's what he thinks initially. I think the person who played the Vulcan did a really good job, the science officer Vulcan. She gets kind of a lot of time, she does a really good job. As a Vulcan and in this role, I buy it. Good job there. We go back into space. Look at this shot. A little overexposed again on my screen, but great shot. I'm skipping around a little bit, but the Shrike is coming after them. They're getting away, it looks like, and then they try to get away, and the Shrike launches their weapon, their portal weapon, and the portal weapon deploys, and it does what you think it does. It sucks up the Titan and then spits it out in another place, right in front of the Shrike. So you can't escape. We're going to keep throwing you through this portal, and they keep playing that cat and mouse, hide and seek, playing along, because what else are they going to do? And here they come through the portal again. This was pretty cool. I really liked that. Then we go to the Metalis Prime again. Raffi and Worf have a funny exchange. They're laughing to each other. And then they're looking for this guy they're trying to catch. Then they catch him. Worf does an Undertaker choke slam on him, which is phenomenal. They find the guy they're looking for. I mean, dude, Worf picks this dude up, and this is straight up Undertaker. Wrestling. Rest in peace. And Worf just fucking, boom, just choke slams him through a goddamn table. Boom. Awesome shit. By the way, that is the guy that actor who got choke slammed is the guy who once played Picard's son on Star Trek Generations, the first TNG movie, as a child. And now here he is in Picard. Kind of funny. A lot of people thought that was going to be Picard's son, but he's not. So then Jack tells Seven of Nine, oh, there's some kind of leak somewhere. Where could it be that's leaking? She tells him it's like deuterium or something. They run down, put masks on, find the deuterium somehow. It's a little convoluted and contrived, how this happens and whatever, but I'm not really going to get into that here. There are some things in this episode that actually don't really make 100% sense, and there's some stuff that's sort of done and it's kind of not correct, and I've heard some other people already nitpick that stuff and get into that, and I do agree. I think that's why this episode's weird. This episode is full of stuff that's really awesome, but then it's got some stuff in it that's so staggeringly dark and sort of a bit like of a reach and out of character at times to me that I don't love it. So this, if some things had been tweaked and said differently, I might have given this episode the best rating of all three that I've seen. And just to remind you, I gave episode 1 a 7 out of 10. I gave episode 2 a 7.5 out of 10. So anyway, they figure this out, and they're looking for the leak, and they find it. It's obviously been sabotaged. Picard and Riker are having a big disagreement. I kind of like it because, eventually these alphas, they're alphas. Alphas are going to disagree at some point potentially. And we finally sort of get that here. Especially since Riker is the one with the reins, and that's never really happened before. Then we get this pretty funny interrogation scene with, like, Raffi's like, we're going to kill you and torture you, and Worf is like, no, we're not, but, and this dude is just, I don't know, this is a really entertaining scene for some reason. I don't even like Raffi, but she's entertaining here. If you made it from a different planet, like, she'd have been way more tolerable. We'll get more on this in a few minutes, but then we cut to what happens to Jack, which is actually this already happened. I skipped over the part where basically the Henson that we expected to be some kind of turncoat is the sabotage guy, the saboteur, and he attacks Jack, and Jack punches him in the face, and then his face like shrivels all over the place, and I went, holy shit, he's a changeling. It's the changelings. Like, yep, shapeshifters. So right away, as soon as he got punched, I figured that was the case. And still not 100%. Then he sees this weird vision, which is very strange right here. Like, they say something like tie the branches together, and we see kind of what it looks like tree roots growing everywhere. This looks like a Stranger Things goddamn scene. And it's 7 of 9 is saying something like, the tree and the roots or something. And that's very weird. So something's going on there. I don't know what that's about, but something's up. We see a weird red doorway and all these weird, very strange things. Something is up there, and we'll have to figure that out later. But Jack's going to probably see more of these visions, I guess. And, I don't know, man. It's almost like, you know what? I think I just thought of it. Is this the, oh, I mean, this would be a hell of a spoiler if I actually knew, but I don't know. But I'm going to take a shot at this. This is the, oh my God, why can't I think of the god? Dude, I'm having strokes or something. I don't know what it is. What are they in Deep Space Nine? The prophets, right? Oh my God, bro, I have problems. That I don't know. This is like a vision of like maybe like because he's having a vision, so this makes me think of like the prophets or like a vision that he's having from the wormhole. But I don't know, maybe not. Maybe it's something different going on here. I'm not sure, but the way it's 7 of 9 talking to him. Remember when Cisco would get visions and stuff like that, it would be all these people in Starfleet uniforms talking to him and stuff. So I don't know, maybe not, but I don't know. I feel something's up here though. Picard is then this is some crazy shit, man. He passes out. He gets found. 7 of 9 brings him. They get to sick bay, and Beverly's like, we're losing him. His pulse is gone. He's almost gone. And my God, bro, I'm serious. I swear to God to you, only because of all the misery that's happened to Captain Picard over the years of his nephew and family dying in a fire, him being alone. You know what I mean? Finding out about his mother in that stupid season 2 and everything that's happened to this guy, and then Beverly just disappearing for 20 years with his kid that he didn't know he had, and just all these things. And now he's on his way in a reflection of what happened to Riker to see his kid, and it looks like his kid's going to die. He's barely seen him and got to know him at all, and he's about to die. And I'm like, oh my God, if they do this to him, man, I was getting upset. And I was like, I swear to God, if this kid dies now, like I'm gonna be like, I don't know. Maybe I won't watch this. I don't know how I can deal with this. And luckily, he comes back to life. It's like, holy shit, Jesus Christ, bro. So in a great, what a wonderfully done scene, by the way. They held on as long as possible, and this is him finding out Jack's like really bad, like and Riker's like, what do you even? He's like, go, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, so that was really a well done scene. And I was like, please don't let another person die by Beverly's hands. And we go back to Worf and Raffi, and they're still, interrogating this guy, and he starts going fucking crazy. Like, this actor went fully on, man. He was like, I loved it. He's like, he's just, they were messing with his voice, altering it all low, like he's a goddamn demon, Satan, like friggin'. It was pretty cool. Especially this one, he's like, yeah. look like Jim Carrey right here. I don't know, bro. So I like that scene. This guy probably really looks like that walking around LA. So that was cool. And then they reveal that he's a changeling, and Worf knows right away. Oh yes. I mean, why? Some people are like, how could Worf should have known this all along, so why was it some big reveal thing? But, just shut up. And but Worf just plays it well. I like the dialogue. Then something explodes on the Titan because the saboteur explodes the warp, it looks like, drive. By the way, I do like the CGI and graphics of the new way that the changelings kind of look with the updated times. I think it does. It looks like you would think it would look, and I think it looks like you would want it to look. I think it looks good. I really do. I think it looks great. Really intense ending here, and then the Shrike ends up catching up to them. Picard has been trying to beg Riker this whole entire show to fight back. We're gonna fight. We have to fight. We can't keep hiding. And Riker was like, we're gonna lose a fight, so we need to keep hiding as long as we can. And finally, Riker gives in to Picard, and he says, they're pretty much out of options almost. It looks like, and Picard is like, you have to fight. And finally, Riker says, okay, come up behind them. They won't see us coming because they'd lost the Shrike. And so the Titan comes up behind him and he says, fire everything we've got, and they fire everything they've got. And then the Shrike just launches their portal weapon, sucks up the torpedoes and spits them back at the Titan. And it kills the Titan pretty much, dead in the water as they fall forward towards that into the nebula well or whatever they're going into. I forget what they're going into, but they're going into their peril. And it seems pretty hopeless, but this is where I have a real problem with this episode, where they seem dead, and Riker says, like, get off the bridge, you just killed us all, to Picard. And I was like, wow, I just don't agree with that dialogue. I would have rather Riker say something like, get the hell off the bridge. And then maybe Patrick Stewart, Picard could have said, will, like something like will, and then Riker could have said, I think you've done enough damage. That sort of thing. Like, I think you've done enough damage. Or get off the bridge. I don't want you to be up here when whatever happens to us that's going to happens because of you. Or, something like that. Or he could have said, when you gave commands on the Enterprise and I disagreed, that was it. But apparently when I give commands, you weren't going to take no for an answer. Now look where it's gotten us. Get off the bridge. That sort of thing. But he says, like you've killed us all. Like, it was just like so cold. Like, it was like, what? After all the stuff that they've been through and they've been talking about and these things that are going on, and he's just like, you've killed us all. It was just, I hated that piece of dialogue. I just didn't, again, this is something I just don't quite buy it. don't quite buy that Riker would say to Picard, like, you've killed us all. Get the hell off the bridge. You've killed us all. Like, that's a very... I mean, he better say sorry. Later, because that was rough. I don't quite agree with that dialogue. And that really honestly, it left me with a real downer feeling. And I kind of was upset about it because I have to wait another week to see what happens. And that's the last thing I heard. And I think if that dialogue had been slightly less severe, Beverly had a better reason for all this stuff, this episode would have done better for me. But it's a little bit rough with some of those things. So this is, like the reason, Beverly's reason, I give it like a 6 out of 10. But I was hoping to have an 8 out of 10, feeling about her reason. Like, all right, it hurts her character a little bit. It hurts Riker's character a little bit. Now, granted, I'm sure later on, hopefully everybody's going to make up and we're going to get that family feeling back again and everything will be okay. But right now, I'm kind of like, I don't feel great about this right now. And that's not how you're supposed to not feel that way at the end of this episode, obviously. But this is one of those things where there should have been another episode. This show should not have aired in 10 pieces. This show should have aired in 4 pieces. There should have been episodes 1, 2, and then there should have been episodes 3, 4, 5 maybe, and then there should have been episodes 6, 7, and then 8, 9, or 10. Something like that should have happened. That way you could have digested 2 to 3 hours and then been like, okay, we'll see what happens next week or the week after. Even if they waited 2 weeks. 3 episodes, 2 weeks. 3 episodes, 2 weeks. 3 episodes, 2 episodes a week, whatever. But this is just too little, so this left me kind of upset. So I gave episode 1 a 7 out of 10. I gave episode 2 a 7.5 out of 10. I'm going to give this episode a 7. I think some people, this was their favorite episode. And I think for action and stuff, if you love Star Trek First Contact, and Star Trek First Contact is wonderful where all the characters are out of character, right? Jean-Luc Picard is like, the line must be drawn here, and I will make them pay for what they've done. Like that he literally says that. That is not Jean-Luc Picard in Star Trek First Contact. That is not Jean-Luc Picard. Jean-Luc Picard doesn't go, and I will make them pay for what they've done. Like, that's just not him. And they didn't care because they were like, we're making a movie. So, but that's not the character I watched on TNG. And then Worf, with all his history with Picard, is like, if you were any other man, I would kill you where you stand. It was like, really? Jesus Christ, Worf, you would kill any other man where they stood? Like, what the hell? So those were kind of crazy-ass words from Worf. Picard was just nuts. I mean, like, so they were like, I love First Contact. I was 13 years old. I saw it in the theater. I loved it. My favorite Star Trek movie, from Next Generation, but they're all out of character. Deanna is like a drunk on the Earth. She's like, oh, well, we don't have time to talk about, everyone's just out of character. But it's still entertaining, and it's one of the best Star Trek movies. So this is a Star Trek movie, essentially. This is not like TNG. This is like the continuation of the movies. And, I think a lot of the TNG movies were 7 out of 10s and 7.5s out of 10s and 8 out of 10s, things like that. I mean, I think a lot of episodes of the show, I love the show. I love the show so much. The show gets 10s and 9 out of 10s for me on almost every episode. I love them all so much. The movies, 7 and 8s. And that's what this is. This is like right now we're at a solid 7. What are you guys at? I'd love to hear your comments down below and let me know what you think. What are you at with this season so far? And then we get the beautiful end credits. Oh, they're so beautiful. Great job to everybody involved in Star Trek Picard. You've done such a really pretty good job of reviving some Star Trek. Star Trek Discovery was announced to be canceled today, 5 seasons, and this will be their 5th and last. I absolutely do not like Discovery whatsoever, and thank God it's over, because it just murdered Star Trek, in my opinion. You got about 300,000 people watching Discovery. You got about 400,000 or 500,000 people watching Strange New Worlds, maybe a little more than that. And I'm assuming Picard's going to have those numbers as well, 500 to 1 million, somewhere in there. And Discovery has just been poor. And, the reason why we have all this stuff is because the original series, because Star Trek The Next Generation, and here we are paying homage to it as best as they can. So I can't wait for next week because I really need to get that last scene out of my mouth where Riker says, "You've killed us all," which I just think is ridiculous. I hate that commentary from him. I don't like it. I really like Riker, too, and then that makes me kind of like... And then Picard walks off the bridge like a sad little kid or something. He doesn't say anything. He just walks off, and he walks off sauntering. Like, it's very strange. I do not like it. I would have preferred a close-up on Picard's disappointed face as he walked off rather than him in the background walking off. I don't know why. But, again, still really, really good. Just don't like the line.
Towards the gravity well. We're heading right.
Riker looks like disgusted. Why did I listen to Picard?
Remove yourself from the bridge.
That's all he should have said. That would have been enough. Remove yourself from the bridge. That would have been enough for me. I wish it stopped there.
You've just killed us all.
That was... Oh, I don't like that. I really don't like that. If I had a time machine, I'd go back in time and I'd abduct Terry Metalis and get rid of that line. I hope to God he apologizes for that later. Like, I'm sorry about what I said. Or something, because that hurts me, man, to hear that. That's a line that just shouldn't have been there. And Picard just pivots and walks away like... I don't know, it's just, I hate that scene. Oh my God, bro. I'll probably like it better when the story's completed because I'll get it out. It won't be like I'm stuck on this moment. I mean, talk about being stuck on one of the most downer, fucking depressing, like most out of never heard Riker speak like this to Picard sort of type of thing you've ever heard. It's just, ugh. It reminded me of First Contact when I was a kid in the theater. I did when Picard was yelling at Worf and he called him a coward. And then Worf said, "If you were anyone else, I would kill you where you stand." I was like, what the fuck? Like, what? Like, I mean, dude, I was, even though I loved First Contact, I was like, yeah. But that scene ended then, you know what I mean? And then they went on. And then a few minutes later, Picard is like, "Mr. Worf, I regret some of the things I said back, you know." And Worf is like, "Some," you know? And then Picard is like, "As a matter of fact, I find you..." And it's like, of course, you know, so, but there's no time, there's not 10 minutes later they apologize or you see everything work out or whatever. You know, it's not like that. We're going to wait a week now after Riker goes, "You've just killed us all." Like, it's very hard to deal with. But anyway, whatever. The show's been wonderfully entertaining to me. What do you guys think? This is Star Trek Late Night. If you stuck around this entire video, you're an insane person because my channel isn't even monetized yet, so I'm not even going to make any money from this. But if you do want to send me a tip, paypal.me/Joe Cronin Show. Just go to paypal.me/Joe Cronin Show, and you can send me a tip if you'd like. I'm working 3 jobs, and this channel's not monetized. So if you want to support me there, feel free to do it. I don't have any other ways set up yet. My big channel, my main channel where I talk about wrestling, 70,000 subscribers over there, super chats and things are all enabled. But here on my Star Trek only channel, I don't have anything enabled. So feel free to support me any way you can. But I suggest paypal.me/Joe Cronin Show. Thank you for that. Thank you for listening. And I'll have some videos throughout the week as we lead into episode 4. I hope it's good. This has been Star Trek Late Night. I hope they bring back Tasha Yarmy. I'm sorry. Here's some other videos popping up that you might have missed. I can't believe I just spent 50 minutes on this episode. What the hell's wrong with me? Subscribe. And don't forget to click that like button. Did I leave something out? Leave it in the comments section down below. I'll respond to it in another video.